Hey, it's a beautiful good morning to you from yours truly, Mr. Panuka, uh, and coming to you from one of our sweet pepper, greenhouses. This is greenhouse number 10, housing some lovely, sweet pepper as you shortly see. But it's quite such a lovely but hot morning, by the way. The rain is upon us, which is a good thing. But obviously, for this environment, the rain does not, come through. But from the perspective of just lowering, the temperatures and obviously replenishing our water, aquifers from the underground, boreholes. I think that's a good thing. Um, yeah. So it's been a while since we had just a review of, our sweet pepper, our production. You probably could be wondering whether, Panuka Farm still does, sweet pepper. Um, like we have indicated, I think over time, if you get into horticulture, farming, you need to understand that there's three, what I call holy grails. That's the quality, quantity, and consistency. And so I think from about 2020, 2021, we basically have actually zeroed in on just a few crops, um, and what you see in the background, sweet pepper is actually one of those, crops that we have actually, are focused on. And what that has helped us is to basically, beef up, our production and also honing, our knowledge, best in what we do. Because if you keep, jumping from one crop to the next, you are ever in this learning mode, which becomes very difficult for you to really, harness and hone your skill in a given, crop. So scaling up becomes a bit of an issue because every time you keep, learning, and also you don't have the consistency in production because you've got too many things to do. Um, so I will just shortly, show you what we do here in the sweet pepper, production. But obviously, if you go to our YouTube channel, which I guess you're actually watching from, there's quite a lot of historical videos that we've done on sweet pepper, our production, just from nursery, you transplant and all the way. But I think it's always just good to refresh that knowledge, and that's exactly what I'll do shortly. And just see that we are still at it. The fact that we haven't probably had our sweet pepper specific videos doesn't mean that we've actually stopped farming sweet pepper. We're actually on the high now. Yeah, so sometimes it's just the time to put together content, but yeah, so let's dive in so that you just see exactly what we continue to do right here at Panuka Farm. This is the sweet pepper that we're looking at today. So far it's doing quite very well. It's already started fruiting. Some of the lovely fruits coming up. So obviously you need quite a number of clusters of fruits. So younger ones, the bigger ones that are just maturing. So with sweet pepper, obviously you remember from our historical videos that you've got to do what is called fruit balancing. Just making sure that there's a specific quantity or number of fruits on a plant. Sometimes we don't get it right, but at least we still remember the principles. So again, just making sure that the nutrition is on point. It's element of iron deficiency, but I think it's generally very well. Just checked it out with Plantix to check the nutritional status, and yeah, it ticks quite over 95% of the boxes in terms of nutritional and pest control. So we're good on that. If you check here, we still continue to maintain a two-stem, system. So we have continued with this two-stem, practice, and I think it's working very well. The crop vigor, and what you also see is the uniformity of the crop. It means all the crops are actually receiving, sunlight, water, and the nutrients. You actually see quite some serious, uniformity across, this, greenhouse. Just check it out. So this is what you actually want to see in a crop that's well managed. It means there's very even, crop management, nutrition wise, pest control, and everything. So as some of the fruits are actually coming up there, you need to make sure that you're actually seeing new, clusters of fruits, coming up. And that's what you actually get to see here. There's more fruits that are coming up, which is very good, because remember, with sweet pepper, you want to make sure that you're actually in production for a long time, even close to a year. So there we are. That's how we assess whether this crop is actually coming up very well. Older fruits at the bottom, and obviously there's some element of abortion sometimes, which is unavoidable, heat and all that. But then we still see some very good fruits still, coming up. And so we pay attention to all these things at the top to ensure that we've got production that is quite consistent. So with sweet pepper, varieties, you want to make sure that it can continue to produce. If you've got, supply, contracts, some varieties, unfortunately, they'll give you an avalanche of fruits at a go. You harvest, and then the crop is gone. And then you've got to put another crop into the ground. But with the varieties that we've got, this is Duke, and then we also do Diva by Stack Eyes. Those two varieties have been quite legendary with us, in that they enable us to be in production for quite a long haul. Remember, pepper takes quite a while, to even get to this level. So you don't want to be planting every day. That's quite tedious. So just make sure that you've got a variety that will enable you to be in production for a long haul. And unfortunately, it's not every variety that does that. And once in a while, sometimes in a package of even sweet pepper, we tend to have, the hot chili. Obviously, this is just some production lapse. And this is one such, incidence. But overall, when we check, I think in this greenhouse, that's just an isolated incidence. So we can't really, put, the seed supplier too much to task. But obviously, we've given them feedback that we do have these, incidences. And you can see a good sweet pepper in the making for, block, the lobes. Obviously, general, sweet pepper management, your trellising, weeding. You can actually see like our crop here is generally, weed free, and this is what you expect to see in a very, well managed, sweet pepper, crop. You really need to make sure that you, get it right on that front. But obviously also the nutrition. So far you can actually see, remember with the leaves, it's very easy for you to actually see what's going on. And then also just on the quality, of the fruits that are coming up. That also gives you a signal of what's going on. And then there's also, the spacing. You can actually see we do usually plant these in a bit of a zigzag, format, at about 30-40 centimeters apart. And this is the result of quite a very, great, lovely, crop. There's quite a lot of people that ask, oh, can we have the nutrition, for sweet pepper? I think that has to be determined by soil test. So there's no universal, fertilization, program for, sweet pepper. We've had to go through quite a lot of iterations, but I think what has worked is when your fertilizer program is actually informed by, a soil test. So that's just an aerial view of how this crop, looks like. And above the net, that's how, this crop, looks like, still going. It will actually, reach this, net. But we actually use this net a lot more when we do English cucumber in here because this is where it rests. But also the sweet pepper does actually reach this far. Sometimes we actually have to snip off the tops if you actually manage it very well. So yeah, if you check our historical videos, you actually see that we've had what we call the sweet pepper forests. So yeah, that actually does happen. And so this is just an aerial view for you to appreciate how we grow the sweet peppers. In the quest for production consistency, you can actually see that we already have some young sweet pepper that's already coming up very well so far. This is over 10,000 I think seedlings covering this array as well as this array. So this is what I always say, that when you get on a farm, the easiest way to actually check production consistency is not just to check on the products that are in the field, but also check how well the nursery is doing. Do you have any young seedlings that are coming up? Because that obviously then shows that there's a very good plan in terms of production consistency. Sometimes people get bogged down with the current production, produce quite a lot, but then forgetting that there's need for another a crop that needs to come after the older ones. These seedlings take quite sometimes a long time to really get to a level where you can actually take them into the field, transplant them. So you have to make sure that you've got quite a a good big batch, so that once you plant, it's all about just crop management. Actually, for ourselves, we've I think timed just twice, somewhere around July and also planting around January. So this is actually our December January batch, and this is what will be harvested through the winter in 2024. So that's basically forward planning. And then along the way, somewhere around July, we again plant more seedlings that are actually destined for harvest around this time next year, which is around festive season. Because of the long gestation period, if you like, for sweet pepper, your planning must actually be that impeccable, making sure that you understand that you have to have like 6 or 7 months forward planning if you do sweet pepper production commercially. So no knee-jerk reactions when it comes to sweet pepper. Make sure that you've got a very clean planning process and execution, because sometimes some people are very good at planning, perpetual planning without action. So we're really talking about putting your plans into action to get this quite right. So yeah, come December, January, this is getting into the greenhouses. Land prep is already underway, and then we are on our way to a good sweet pepper production. So it's still alive. It's getting hot in here. I think I've gotta get out of here. But I thought, I just give you some of those updated, tidbits on our sweet pepper, production, because sometimes people think we have not continued to do sweet pepper, just in case, you come through on our YouTube channel and that you don't see recent, videos. We're actually cranking up, sweet pepper production. But I thought, I also just give you a few, updates, for those that are new to our YouTube channel, on some of the, nuggets around, sweet pepper production. It's a very good crop, but one that requires quite some tact. You need to really be very knowledgeable about, the production of, sweet pepper. And you also need to have quite a lot of patience, because remember, if the temperatures are low, it takes you roughly about a month and a half, sometimes even close to 2 months, for you to just get the seedlings right. And then from there you transplant. It takes you roughly about 3 to 4 months to get to a stage where you've got some fruits, almost similar to the stage where we're in. And then this sweet pepper has to start turning color. That's an additional month or so. So already from just putting your seed into the trays to really see your first either red or yellow fruit, you're talking about half a year is gone, literally about 5 to 6 months. And so you only start selling around the sixth month, and if you manage it very well, obviously it takes quite a while. You can actually harvest for another 6 or 7 months, which we've actually demonstrated here at Panuka Farm. So lots of patience, lots of knowledge to really keep the crop going, nutritionally, pest control and stuff like that. So those are very critical aspects of just how you turn around if you're looking at sweet pepper production commercially. Okay, folks, so have a lovely one wherever you're watching me from. It's been great to again come through once here on our YouTube channel with some nuggets around sweet pepper. Until next time, bye bye.